The South African Communications Industries Association, SACIA, has signed a collaboration agreement with the Uganda Association of Conference Incentive Industry. The agreement aims to upskill people working in the events industry in Africa following recent intergovernmental agreements between South Africa and Uganda. SACIA promotes the adoption of professional standards and ethical business in the communications, events and entertainment industry throughout Southern Africa. It provides training and certification for industry professionals and aims to establish professional industry standards across the continent. And for more on this, we're now joined by Kevan Jones, Executive Director of Sakia, and he joins us now via our video link. And Kevan, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. Perhaps let's start off here. Tell us about the collaboration, then agreement signed between Sakia and the Uganda Conference Association.
Molly, good evening. Yes. So in essence, what we've done is we've signed a collaboration agreement with the Ugandan Association for the Conference Industry. Essentially, what we're saying is that the challenges that different associations across Africa have, here I'm talking about associations active in the events industry, but the challenges that we have are the same, whether you're in Zambia, whether you're in Uganda, whether you're in South Africa. And actually we can solve those problems most effectively when we share resources, cooperate with each other and collaborate with each other. Some of the associations in countries, South Africa is one example, we're probably a little bigger than our colleagues in Uganda or Zimbabwe. And so we have resources that we can share with them. And that really is what the agreement is all about. It's about saying, how do we cooperate with each other in order to create greater commercial opportunities for people working in the events and entertainment sector.
And what would you say prompted this collaboration? I mean, you speak about challenges. Maybe just take us through some of the challenges that you had encountered as an industry.
Well, I suppose a good example lies with the development of standards. So in South Africa, we have a national standard that promotes safety in the events industry. It's SANS 10366. They don't have those standards in other countries around Africa, but there's an initiative that has been driven by the African Union, also the African Standardization Organization, that is calling for the development of African standards rather than national standards. And one of the things that we're talking to our colleagues in Uganda about is how do we collaborate with the implementation of the SANS 10366 standard in Uganda. Actually, it was an initiative that was started by our colleagues in Zambia and Zimbabwe. We already have collaborative agreements in place with the Zimbabwe and the Zambian associations. And the idea is to say, how do we expand this so that there is a common commitment to safety and ethical business practices in the events industry that extends across Africa. Our organization in part has been supported by many years by an international organization called IFIA, the International Festival and Events Association. And Peter Kagwa, the chairman of the Ugandan Association, is also the chairman of IFIA Africa chapter. And so, we have this existing agreement with the international body, and then the idea was to ask, how do we implement that across Africa in a fashion that allows us to boost collaboration and cooperation between the event industry players in different countries.
And now looking at this agreement, one would ask, what are the benefits for South Africans?
I think the real benefits come from shared opportunity. One of the things that we found, particularly post-COVID, is that a lot of the particularly technical crew, but event organizers and event safety officers during the COVID pandemic actually looked for work outside of the industry, many of them securing work in Africa, but also across the Middle East. And what we're trying to do is to say, if there are common standards, It creates opportunities for South Africans to work in different locations, but it also creates opportunities for industry experts in other African countries, particularly in the SADC region, to work in South Africa. The truth is that we can all learn from each other, and that's what common standards really brings about, is the opportunity to cooperate and collaborate according to a standard.
And looking at the region we find ourselves in, and this agreement that has now been signed for this region, what would you say is the role of Sakia into ensuring the promotion of the events industry?
So we're a SACIA recognised professional body, and in terms of our registration with SACIA, we have very specific obligations imposed upon us. So the first thing that we do that is outside of the realm of some of the other associations is that we have developed and we award professional designations to industry professionals that recognise their skill and their knowledge and their competence. We hold them accountable to a code of professional conduct. Pardon me. And essentially what we're doing is we're bringing those opportunities for to earn professional designations to our colleagues across the continent. So that's something that we can do that other associations can't.
And when it comes to this code of conduct in which you are speaking about, maybe just tell us how it relates to professionals in the events industry and perhaps the communications and the entertainment industry. So
we have different designations across the events and entertainment industry. For example, we collaborated with the South African Guild of Actors, and we developed a designation for professional actors working in the South African market. We have designations that we award to cinematographers and filmmakers and theatre technicians and various other stakeholders in the events and entertainment industry. What we've done is we've put together a code of professional conduct that sets standards of behaviour and protects the public against unprofessional conduct or unethical conduct by industry professionals. And again, what we're trying to do is to say that there must be common standards that are imposed across the industry and across the borders. So whether you're working with an industry professional from South Africa or from Zimbabwe or from Zambia or from Uganda, they all sign the same code of professional conduct. They're all bound by a commitment to the same professional standards. And if they don't abide by those standards, then we as a body can hold them accountable and discipline them in an appropriate fashion.
And I'm sure then, Kevin, this would require some sort of training. Do you provide any sort of training programs for members of Sakia and clients of Sakia?
So we do, and in essence what we're saying is that there are three elements that need to come together in order for us really to achieve our objective. So the first is the development of standards. The second is to ensure that there are training programs available to encourage people to work according to the standards. And then the third element is industry certification, recognizing people that can work according to the standard. Now, we offer several CPD training programs, CPD, an acronym for Continuing Professional Development, but we also work very closely with universities and training providers across Southern Africa to ensure that their curriculum is aligned with the needs of industry and that the students that graduate from those programs have the skills and the competencies that are required by employers. So yes, we do deliver training, but more importantly than that, we work with the established kind of academic community to ensure that the students that are graduating have the skills that are needed to really secure and fast track their career within the events sector.
Mr. Jones, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. That is Kevan Jones, Executive Director of Sakia.